Okay, this is Distributive Property Part 2. Find the section on your notes called Warm Up, and here's your warm up activity. A rectangle has a width of 4 units and a length of m units. Write an expression for the area of the rectangle. So remember, our formula for area is length times width. If the width is 4 and the length is m, your formula would look something like this, but when you simplify it, you end up with 4m. Remember, our number always comes before the variable. Okay, down here on number 2, it asks, what is the area of the rectangle if m is 3 units? So I'm taking my formula for m and I am changing the 3 with the m. So I end up with 4 times 3, and that equals 12 units squared. Remember, this becomes squared units. We have two things that we're multiplying. Okay, down here I have 4m equals 4 times, put your units in, then what does that give you? .8 units squared. Don't forget to get your calculator and try these calculations yourself. 4m, go ahead and give this one a try. You should have had 4 times 1/5, which resulted in 4/5 units squared. Okay, this one says, could the area of this rectangle be 11 units squared? Why or why not? So if the area is 11 units squared, could I take 4m, could I come up with a number for m that would multiply together would give me 11? Doesn't have to be a whole number, it just has to be a number. How would I find that? Using a one-step equation. Looking at my calculator, I could do something like, this is multiplication, so I could divide on both sides, and I would take 11 divided by 4, and it equals 2.75. So my u equals 2.75 units. Oh, sorry, this isn't u, this is m. There we go. And you end up with something like that. Okay. Now turn to the section in your notes marked activity. And we have a couple of questions on that. Okay, the first one says, here are 2 rectangles. The length and width of one rectangle are 8 times 5. The width of the other rectangle is 5, but the length is unknown, so it's labeled as x. Write an expression for the sum of the areas of the 2 rectangles. So we know the formula for area is length times width. So over here we have, on this one, we have 8 times 5. On this one, we have x times 5. and we could add those together. So we have x times 5 simplified would be this 5x, and we're adding that to 40. And that's our expression. 8 times 5 is 40. Okay. Down here, it says the two rectangles can be composed into one larger rectangle as shown. What are the width and the lengths of the new rectangle? Okay, so the length equals x plus 8, 8, and the width equals 5. And then down here it says write an expression for the total area of the larger rectangle as the product of its width and length. So this is where distributive property comes in. Remember, we multiply these two together. So the length we're going to put in parentheses, and the width we're going to put outside of it. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. Here's the next section on the activity. Find this on yours. So you've got the graph with rectangle A, B, C, D, E, and F. It says for each rectangle, write an expression for the length and width of two expressions for their total. Record them in the table. Check your expressions in each row with your group and discuss any disagreements. We're not doing this discussion with your group. We'll discuss that together when I see you tomorrow. Okay, so for rectangle A, my width is 3. My length is A plus 5. The area as a product of width times length, and this is where I put it in parentheses. Area as a sum of the area of the smaller rectangles. So this is where I would get A times 3 is 3A. And then I'm going to add that. This is addition, so this is addition. 3 times 5, which is 15. And then if you look carefully, you'll see way up here, this is what we found up here. We multiplied the 5 by both of them and ended up with something very similar to that right there. Okay, for B, my width is 1/3. My length is 6 plus x. My area is 1/3, opening parentheses, 6 plus x, closing parentheses. And then I'm going to do the math here. 1/3 times 6 gives me 2 plus 1/3 x. Okay, for area C, here it is. My length is r. My width, 1 plus 1 plus 1. Can I have 3 things? These only had 2, but I can. Opening parentheses, Could I just write 3? Yeah, I could, but I'm going to leave it in the format they gave it to me. So 1 plus 1 plus 1, closing parentheses. When I come over here, r times 1 is just r plus r plus r. All right, D, 6. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 p's. P plus P plus P plus P. Put 6 on the outside. 1 P, 2 P's, 3 P's, 4 P's on the inside. 6P plus 6P plus 6P plus 6P. For E, we have M on the outside, 6 plus 8 on the inside. When I write it as an expression, I have M, opening parentheses, 6 plus 8. Over here, I would have, remember your number comes first, so 6M plus 8M. Right, and then F, I have 5 for the width, 3x plus 8, I put my 5 on the outside. I have 3x plus 8 on the inside. 5 times 3x gives me 15x plus 5 times 8, 40. Good job. Okay, go ahead and pause it if you need more time to write it. I'm going to flip it over to the next one. Right, it says here is an area diagram of a rectangle. Find lengths W, X, Y, and Z and the area A. All values are whole numbers. All right, so we have length times width for our areas. Here's the area of diagram of a rectangle. So we have, this one would be well, this is confusing. A is area, so this is the area. Does that mean this is the area? You know what, we're going to skip this one because that one's just a little, I don't know, or my head's not being able to wrap around it this morning. And that brings us to Distributive Property Part 3, which we're going to do together in class. Make sure you get your worksheet after your notes are complete. Turn your notes in and you can work on your worksheet. Have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.